Hello.
Welcome to
Hi.
Fireside
Oh,
Chat.
Yeah, I have a hard time looking for a place that's not noisy because we are constructing everywhere. So I have to hide in our overview.
Very good. I just want
Can you
to
see
let
me?
you know, yes, we
Because
see you.
it's too bright in the sun is too bright. Is it okay?
you
Yeah,
look good.
you
You
look
look
good.
good.
What do you
Okay.
say,
Look
people?
old enough?
Does he looks good?
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Young enough. Young enough.
All
Too
right.
young. Too young.
Very good.
Hello. Okay,
Last,
so I'm ready.
yes. Let me give you a little introduction. As you know, this is a space that Dan and I host called the Fireside Chat for Vilcabamba and the world. And today we made it live because we have some healers and some specialists of different categories that are now in Vilcabamba.
Okay.
Recently, new osteopath and emotional transformative healers, Walter do
Mm.
biodynamic, Annie do healing through Thai massage and arts, and many other people that are seeing this because it's recorded are going to be very interested in you and the path of service you have and in the Heal Convention. So we thought it was a great time to interview you and you can share with us about
Okay,
this
I'm ready.
international convention.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to be around you guys. So
I
and
just
hello to every one of you.
wonderful,
Hello.
Yeah.
wonderful. Welcome, Master Del Pay. Welcome, everyone. Even though our numbers are a little small on our live recording here, each one of those squares, video squares, is a serious powerhouse. So
Okay.
we got a bunch of dynamites here on this screen right now. But what I want to say for introductory comments is Beatrice shared with me that she's been translating the upcoming healing convention from English to Spanish. And she is just blown away. She's like, Darren, you cannot miss this, man. These people are incredible.
It's true.
So she doesn't say that all the time. So she's really feeling strong about this one after she's translated them all. So I think we got a quite a exciting lineup coming up for this weekend.
Yes, indeed. That's my experience. I can talk for myself, and I'm trying to get this to the world because I have seen the significance of this convention coming together. And Master Del Pe, I know that the topic that you chose for this convention is heal, which means heal every aspect of your life, and also reinventing healthcare. Can you tell us why you chose the topic for the convention?
Well, in I was the proponent of this convention, and it is under the main organization called the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, which I founded in the United States and now in 71 countries. So I chose the word heal because in the older English language, hail or heal is really the root word of health, and it means sacred or holy, meaning to say when the ancient healers had used their healing powers, it's to sanctify life and is to improve a life to be more spiritual and to be more whole. That's why it's called heal and it's holy. Now it has been changed to more commercial ways of the medical industry. So I have to reemphasize that reinventing healthcare is a mission of every healer or every person who wants to heal every aspect of life, not just the physical body. Because I think we have been used to the Western kind of medicine where the big pharma and the medical industrial complex took over the wisdom of medicine or something. Like in the Philippines, traditional medicine here means to say the psychic masseurs, psychic healers, psychic dentists, psychic surgeons. So when we call traditional medicine in the Philippines, it's older than medicine as far as allopathic is concerned. So we are a little confused when a lot of doctors who are new would say we are the medicine and you are alternate to medicine. So we had been confused with that because the allopathic medicine had been the alternate to the traditional medicine of the Philippines because we have been herbal medicine for a long time. We have psychic masseurs, even a lot of blind people use the healing powers to heal people. So I have chosen the reinventing healthcare through healing sciences for two reasons. So not only we do need to fix the healing systems to match the incoming complexities of diseases and social disorders, but we need also to be taller and shine above the doubts against energy medicine healing or psychic healing, because it has been made taboos by the scientific community. So we need to regain back our power as healers, as Hippocrates and his forefathers had been always in the line of healing. He was just the one who made a Hippocratic oath that coded medicine with more, uh, I would say, codes of conduct or something. But originally, even in Greece, it has been always the energy medicine man or woman who had been the wise person who had healed people and coached them and mentored them. So it involved a lot of mentoring rather than just the physical aspect. So today I have opted to choose the theme because we need to wake up the fact that we were healers before Orthodox medicine came. We should regain back that part where we have to make it taller, visible, and have a sustainability so that people will join us, not to replace medicines, because I don't want to replace medicine to fix it. I'm not there to fix it. They have to fix themselves. Doctors are like soldiers. They are following only the general's order. Like there's a military industrial complex, as they say, and every soldiers follow without knowing why they're going to battle sometimes. So with doctors, they're just executing what the medical industrial complex and medical cabals and big pharmas would like them to do. So we have to wake up ourselves. I don't want to wake up the medical industry. That's their problem, they fix it. And that's their karma, they have to go through it. What we need is our dharma, our duty as healers, to be able to navigate the changes that are coming. Because if we don't have the money to eat, we don't have food to eat, we'll perish. So in defense to rightness, the healers have to reinvent themselves, not just their doctors, because most healers are using very old traditional healing tools that do not match anymore the new energy system. So that is my theme also in the convention, how to reinvent healthcare through healing sciences, not replacing orthodox medicine, not to fix them, to fix ourselves first. As always Darren says, that divinity within has to be the first to be fixed, right?
Take me off mute.
Yes.
Wonderful, Master Del Pay. Thank you for those introductory comments. Self-discovering the divinity within usually is where we find the answers to most of the world's problems. As a way of introduction for interesting tapping into your mind and your expertise here, one of the things I've learned from Beatrice is the energy bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's in the energy bodies that get disharmony first, and then it slowly condenses into the physical body, and you end up having a physical infirmity in the liver, in the back, and the heart, or wherever. I think that would be a really interesting topic for people to hear from you on, is how, and I think really is where your field of expertise and what you're really bringing to the world is addressing the illnesses in the energy body before they actually physicalize in the physical body, and we can sort of cut the physical infirmities short or beat them to the punch if we can clean and clear the energy bodies. Maybe you want to comment on that.
Thank you, Darren. This is where I come in as a highly technical, trained, and researched healer, a healing scientist. The problem is when people think of energy as just one layer. There is a physical body, which is the hardware. There's a vitality aura, which is like the battery of the system that makes you work your life, and stamina. There's also the emotional aura, which is the emotional body, called sometimes astral aura. And there's also the mental aura, which is divided into two. The concrete mental aura, which is for logical mind operates. And there's also the abstract mind where principles and philosophies operate. The problem is most people think of only one layer healing, and that's why they have sometimes missed many of the frequencies which are to be addressed when there's mental illnesses. You cannot just heal the etheric or the vitality aura. It's true that diseases manifests first on the aura before it physicalizes. That's one principle. but diseases also manifest in different layers. For example, if a person has diabetes, I will first scan the aura of the person and chakras in all levels. There are at least four layers of auras, and each layer has seven sub layers, especially the emotional, astral, or the mental. But the etheric or the prana and chi, there's only four layers there. Most people do not think of different layers to find the disease. So when the person has diabetes, I will look at the person's type, if they are type 1, type 2, or there are 8 types of human designs. If it were Mother Teresa, I would find, are you okay?
Yes,
Okay.
Master, that just
I,
your
We're
head.
just we were just saying we're seeing half your head. If you can just change the angle of your
okay.
camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will find that the astral or emotional aura is more connected to cause the pancreas and insulin resistance to be malfunctioning. If I were healing an Einstein diabetic, I see that the mental aura is more triggering the etheric and the physical body to get sick. So not all diseases are manifesting in the same place for different kinds of people. If the person was born of diabetes, like type 1, uh, most likely the etheric is very, very depleted on the pancreas and atrophied. So I would be more activating the pancreas and the solar plexus and the aura of the physical etheric more than the mental. So if you look at diabetes alone, it's more complicated than simple for most healers, because they have to look for what is the real source of the diabetic tendency. Is it mental? Is it astral or emotional? Is it etheric, or is it physical, or is it past life? In most cases, type 1 will be past lives. It has been born with a defect and imbalance. So I heal a lot of the past life of that person's solar plexus, pancreas, immune system, and so on. Now, there are times that the immune system of the person, because of self-sabotage nature in the past life, is the beta cells that produces the insulin in the Isles of Langerhans, for example, is being killed by the immune system itself of the person. So when I see that person is self-sabotage in nature, self-destructive, I would know that it is the person's immune system that sometimes sabotage the insulin production. So even type 1 or type 2, or even, let's say, gestational diabetes when people are pregnant, comes from different processes. So you cannot average that diabetes can be healed in one fits all kind of thing. So most people's missed many aspects of healing people because they are only averaging the source of diseases in one layer aura. That is my situation where I have to come in as a highly technical research and trained person to re-educate healers who think that there's only one layer aura. For example, the more advanced healer or the more advanced patient would have a different kind of source of that disease. It's not toxicity, because they're already vegetarian. They have lived a good life. They are very loving and compassionate. They are well mannered. They do not hurt people. So if you look at that person, the cause of the disease is not that they are harming people. Unlike a very bad person might have hurt somebody who cursed them, and now they are getting attacked back or have black magic spell on them. So their grossness or their ego-centered personality would probably be cause of eating bad food, very stressed, drinking a lot, smoking a lot. And so that is the cause of the karma of the disease. Maybe the cleaner person, the more advanced soul, is more of an awakening for them to find their mentor, and they have to go and search for healers who will be the one guiding them on their next steps, as they might have engaged in the dark night of the soul or a psychospiritual condition where they get very depressed, they're very sick, but they are clean. But the soul instigate the disease because the soul wants them to be awakened, to bring them to that quantum leap of consciousness to the next step, but searching for more, say, truth in their life. So healing has been made average, like that the one dress fits all, and they had not really questioned what are the real sources of diseases, what's the origin of disease. If you do not pinpoint the origin, it's hard to heal. You can palliatively remove the symptoms. So even healers have been removing symptoms of fever or of disease, because they only heal the present condition of the aura and the chakras imbalance, which is caused not by the food yesterday, but many lives where it is brought from the darkness of the past that is brought the imbalance of the chakras today. So we are not what we eat. We are what we ate. The food yesterday is not causing me to have problems in my health, thus, except if I will eat poisonous food. It was probably the food 20 years ago, and if I had eaten chancho or lechon or pork for a long, long time, which I have done when I was younger. The Philippines eats a lot of pork and lechon and all things. So those food, I'm still cleaning in my stomach, my liver, and so on. So it's not what I ate yesterday because I've been a vegetarian for 39 years. So people have to reset their ability to think deeper, wider, broader, and further, and even to the past, what really causes diseases so that they can pinpoint how to heal them directly. Because the real spontaneous healing and miraculous healing happens only when you can really, really nail down the disease and the causes, not the symptoms, and not only use medication or healing or any adjustment, but really go to that origin and remove it and plug it out or transmute it, transform it. And then there's like, voila, there's a miracles healing. The speed of recovery should be faster than speed of decay. Now, once you understand the aura and chakras, not just minimal understanding, I mean, the three layers of the chakras, the different layers of the aura, where the seed genetic code is seated in the person, then you can really do a very fast healing, even with past lives. So that is what I want to explain in our convention, including the three seats of the soul in the ego, and how to look at, as you look at the energy clairvoyantly, whether the person has to die and you have to help them to exit in this life with dignity, then if you have to save them from things by, a lot of people still go to surgery, a lot of ICUs, but they have to go because the soul has to go because that is the will of the soul or the will of God in the person's life. There's already a terminus endpoint where the life of the soul does not want to stay in the body because it has graduated for that incarnation. So all of this can be seen not only in the aura and the chakras, it is seen in the seats of the soul where the soul will unplug itself and then death happens. But medicine has been prolonging life by all this life extension sciences, and that sometimes delay the soul to withdraw, and sometimes it becomes so toxic. Because my worry is when people take so much cocktails of pills and medication and slice them everywhere, the next life will be the one that will suffer. If people have been taking so much pills and they do not get released in this life, what do you think? Life continues, and next life they will be born of many diseases. Sometimes if they were not healed of insanity, they'll become insane again. If they had so much medication, their liver, their guts, their acidity, their immune system will be affected next life because they had what you sow to yourself this life, you will harvest next life. And so when people say had not been healed of cancer this life because they were just sliced, they were not restored back to normal, the next life they will have again a genetic to have cancer, and they will have a continuous way to release it next life again. And so people are over medicated to just to live longer. I think is detrimental to their next life because they have been planting so much chemicals in their bodies. Therefore, next life they have to really release them in many ways through diseases, through a lot of imbalances, and so on. I talk a lot, Darren.
No, yeah, no,
Yes.
it's okay. I was just gonna say, still, we're seeing half your face. You
Yes.
can angle your camera.
Yeah, better
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes get close when I get excited.
Passion is coming
Oh
out.
my God, this is amazing, Master El Pe. We know you so much, and of course, just for you guys to know, I have been following Master El Pe for 14 years, or maybe more, and my life had so many good experiences with him in the healing, starting for my own life, in many things of my back and with my daughter. She was in my womb and she was not really coming good. And Master El Peyo just did one healing on my birthday, and it was a karmic thing. And after that, I gave a delivery in my home. My dad had pancreatic cancer. He didn't tell us, but he had a healing with Master Del Peña. And the next time he went to surgery and see, he was without cancer. And it inspired me these many years to study with you and to certify with you, and to the point I can be part of the World Institute of Incurable Diseases. So you're creating a legacy that you're duplicating the healing sciences in a way. Many of us that want to be trained and want to have a noble path of service and growth can do that in many countries and in many ways. I have so many questions about this, and you already answered telepathically many things I was going to ask you. So only one thing, maybe you can tell some of the people that is here, what inspired you to do the World Institute for Incurable Diseases? Maybe what kind of conditions? I know we have 57 specializations, but a little more compounded of what is this work? And then maybe I will open up the mic for others to ask their own questions, maybe Bruno,
Okay.
Walter, or Annie.
Yeah. Thank you, Beatrice. I met you through your parent when I healed them, and I think that's the time that a lot of things turn around in Ecuador. Because I used to teach a lot in Ecuador and South America. Almost 90% of South America I've covered, Latin America, Mexico, to all places, to even the southern city of the world, Ushuaia, the fin del mundo, as they say. Anyway, I have good memories in Ecuador and Latin America. I have great memories in every country because I always meet the right people like you who are so hungry to learn. So it's easy for me to disseminate what I have to do as a spiritual master to not only teach healing but esoteric sciences. My passion is esoteric sciences. Healing is one of my sidelines that are giving me a lot of avenue to serve people. So I put up the World Institute for Incurable Diseases to functionalize the healing component of my service and my mastery. And I put a lot of nonprofits in South America and in the United States and India, all places. But I thought to focus on the World Institute for Incurable Diseases online before I left the United States in 2015. I know that this will happen, this pandemic, the earth changes. So I wrote a book called The Equine Revolution, which has specified what's happening today in the world, including all this civil unrest and so on. Because of that vision that I saw that the earth will undertake many, not only the so-called global changes. I don't mean global reset. I have seen that I need to step in to functionalize a lot of healers around the world to step up to a higher level that they can heal 100 people, not one on one. Because there's a time that the medical infrastructure will fail so much that it cannot cope up. Even the emergencies right now, they have a hard time admitting new people because they are one on one. And there are only as much doctors. So the problem, if the doctors will perish because of their own pandemic issues, then what happens to the hospital? What happens to humanity? They will be depending on corpse, doctors who have died. So if there's no doctor in hospital, the hospital doesn't exist. It perished. So that is what I see. So if we don't take charge of our lives, we don't train ourselves to have the healing expertise, we can be at the mercy of circumstances of the failure of the medical industry. And if we have two children or if we have parents who are sick, we cannot get them to the hospital soon enough because there's so much quarantine and medical martial law happening, even in the Philippines. They would tell you stay at home because we don't have the amenities and we don't have the COVID solutions. So better stay at home. So if they're old people, they would stay at home and sometimes die of the comorbidity. So many things I've seen that is coming now is having a manifestation now. The COVID-19, whether it's a pandemic, scandemic, or epidemic, I think is a sign for everyone to take charge of their health, not to go to the hospital if they don't need to, only for emergencies, but you have to prevent getting sick. So the World Institute for Incurable Diseases have designed, through me, my expertise has been for 39 years, how to heal the healthy. There's a new paradigm shift. How to heal the healthy people so that they don't have to go to the hospital or not spend so much money and time healing their own problem. It's like when you take care of the car when it's still new. The car will last long. But if the car has been abused when it's new, you remember, if you have 5 to 10 years car, you'll be busy repairing the car than riding on it. Same with the body. Now, if the mind does not get educated to learn new things to prevent diseases, we are ignorant enough to say that, oh, I don't know that this will cause you problem. The vaccines is bad for you or something, you know. So we need to get re-educated so that our minds get stronger and wiser and also healthier to guide us forward. If our emotions are not healed, we'll be subjected to the traumas of the past. We are subjected to the traumatic energy that surrounds us, which we absorb through osmosis from humanity's karma. And if we do not prevent physical diseases, we need surgery, which sometimes remove one of your breast, one of your liver, one of your ovary, and so on. Then we are walking, casualty and so on. So when I look at the World Institute, I've seen so many things to do, and I don't have even time to finish them. That's what keeping me awake until morning and dawn, and what keeps me waking up at dawn again to come up and say, oh my God, I have not seen this thing and I have to solve this. And I've been training a lot of people, and I know that the WEED, or the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, has a mission to fulfill, to re-educate healers to be faster, stronger, more powerful, more effective, sustainable, and have to have money. If they don't have money to buy food, forget about your healing expertise. You'll be thinking of more your existential issue rather than healing people. So my take on this is we need also to re-educate people to earn money through their healing services. They have to heal and serve, grow, and earn money. And that is where the imbalance happening in mystics. They can be very good healers, but do not have money even to buy a new book or to do anything and to do other things. So that's my sadness that I see in many mystical healers. That's why I had been putting the WEED, or the World Institute for Incurable Disease, not only to educate people again on how to deal with more difficult cases, especially the new Aquarian energy coming, the new era will bring a lot of challenges, because if you use the old energy of Piscean substance, which is the devotional, sentimental energy, that energy is being replaced at the higher levels now, and they're dawning upon us, the change. The problem is like changing a gasoline engine with diesel. You need to change so much of the equipment, the tools, the tank, the will be changed by the injectors. So there's a lot of re-engineering and revamping, refitting that's happening in the world and humanity. And most people are slower than normal. So the energy is fast coming in, the new frequency at absolute level of the beings that are advanced, and to the higher masters level, they're being changed already. They have been redesigned. And then humanity is next, and then animal kingdom, then plant kingdom, mineral kingdom. And the earth, 49 layers are being changed at the upper strata. So the problem now is coming out to the physical level of humanity, and humanity is still behaving the same, still being gullible, trivial, mundane, spending so much time on nothing and nonsense, that instant gratification. I said the sense of convenience. People are always looking convenience, that instant gratification, which is not the right way of living. And so a lot of these quick fix things, because we are so impatient, because we're impatient with our cell phones and high-speed internet, we are trained to be impatient and we cut corners. And that is not the new way. There's a discomfort that comes from reinventing healthcare. There's a way of discomfort to reinvent your energy, your chakras. The chakras are changing, the auras are changing, the substances are changing. The problem is the ways of life are not changing. The ways of eating are not changing. The ways of sleeping are not changing. People are more indulged with the instant gratification of commercial life than if they will have to introspectively say that, what is my next step? What is this new feeling that I do not feel anymore complete? What is that feeling that I am raptured in different ways, that even what I do before doesn't work anymore? Reinventing oneself is one of the major ways of counseling and mentoring people today, because if they don't reinvent themselves, they will fade away, they will extinct, because the new way is looking for the new vehicles in people's egos to revamp the change so that they will survive in this earth changes or existential challenge. And if people do not participate in those kind of mental changes, mentality shifting, paradigm shifting, I don't think they will survive. And the new energy does justice to and fair to substance. And divine God, as we say, is not just loving, is a divinely indifferent being. Whatever law they need to execute with a new substance, it is what it is. So a lot of the commotions in the world, the pandemic, the zoonotic diseases, these are all the karma solutions between animal kingdom and plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. So this is a divine law, which is executed by the divine beings, which does have nothing to do with just humanity. It's about the earth. It's about the earth changes. It's about the earth being has to evolve. It's about the different kingdoms have to harmonize and so on. Angelic kingdom has to bring the new substance. So my mission through WID is to reinvent healthcare. And I brought the heal plan, or heal every aspect of life, 57 plans, to bring the specialization at its highest level to be used by different healers so that they can address the needs for different diseases in a very specific way, not general way, not just imposing your hands to heal people by the crown, by the neck. No, that's the old way. It can work for old people who are belonging to the old design, but the new design will not accommodate that because it does not have the same chakra system. It does not have the same energetic quality. And if we don't adjust our quality of healing, there is a time that healers will fade away because they cannot heal anymore themselves, even themselves. I don't mean patients. So this is why I put up the World Institute, because I see that the challenge will not be healing common colds or tuberculosis or polio. It will be healing psychospiritual diseases that are brought by these shifts, and it cannot be healed by the templates of medicine, psychology, healership. It is a new era of diseases that is so advanced that if the advanced children will come, the advanced souls will come. It cannot be healed by the normal templated healing system, the normal physical massage or Ayurveda or traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture or herbal medicine. The energy has been shifted. That's why even vaccines of the old system cannot fit the new bodies being inborn by new babies, by the new babies' designs. So this is my idea. It can be wrong, you know.
I think it's very inspiring, Master Del Pe. I know it's a very compressed, compounded information of your expertise. I know you have been traveling all over 100 countries, healing over 350 people, and training them. And I think here in Vilcabamba, you will find also very interesting people that is also looking for new ways and looking up to the dawn of Aquarius. So I want to open this space now, maybe for Bruno and Alaya, or for Walter, or for Amy. If you have any comment, opinion towards Master Del Pe, or any question from your side.
I I have a sort a pretty personal question.
Okay.
You know, there's so many new illnesses coming in. My wife is 79 years old and she has early stage Alzheimer's. And how does your methods can you work on things like that?
Yes, in fact, this is one of the incoming majority killer diseases, because the top one is heart disease right now, and then stroke and hypertension caused damages. Then the third is the the upper respiratory tract infections, and then the third one is Alzheimer's, senile decay, and Parkinson's. So, and by the way, some trivia: in some instances, the killer, the top I would say cause of death in the United States is malpractices of medical practitioners. They do not just record it because it's not a disease. It's just the wrong instrumentation and wrong execution of medicine over people. That is one of the top killers in the past, but it's not recorded because it's not a disease, but it's one of those, I would say, causes of death in the United States. Now, in terms of Alzheimer's, it's typical for an older person to lose their memory and or short memory because of the insufficiency of energy in the brain that is stimulated by the lower chakras, especially the kundalini or the fire. There's a sexual fire and the fire of passion, as they say, the fire in the belly that's supposed to reach the head to make the brain and the etheric brain. There are 4 layers of the brain: the physical brain, there's an aura of the brain, there's an emotion of the brain, and there's the mental brain and the spiritual part of the brain. So the more advanced people would have the spiritual aura of the brain. In normal humanity, they will only have until the mental aura of the brain. So when that energy is not satisfied with that substance that comes from below, which is a little bit golden yellow red, there's a loss of stimulus in the brain, and the etheric brain gets depleted. The first layer of brain gets depleted, which affects even sometimes the dopamine function that cause Parkinson's and tremors. If it were the energy in the forehead here and there and here are depleted, there's a tendency to have a Alzheimer's and a senile decay. So what I do to a lot of them is I have to rebuild their lower chakras or lower energies and transmute it upwards so that they will get fertilized again to have that. You see, the neurons are not just neurons of the doctor. The neurons have energy field. So if the energy field of the neurons are not substantiated with this energy I'm talking about, which is the fire in the belly and so on, the neurons also die, or they slow down. And so there is a lapse of memory and cognitive aspects of the person, because that interfacing movement of the neurons are getting slower. So there's like a loss of data. Not only that, they will soon have not only memory short term, they will soon have a second childhood, as they say, because they will start to repeatedly act like a child, repeating the same thing that they just remember from their childhood. So I see a lot of my patients having second childhood. Even my auntie, who is now around 90-year-old, had been still very strong physically. He can still punch you and this, but she forgets my name. And I said, Auntie, I am and then after a few minutes, who are you? Why are you here? So I feel bad about it. And I said, oh my gosh, I wish I can do something for you. So I've been stimulating her mental energy, and it seems improving, even though I do it only once a month, which I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to do it 3 times a week. If that is done, there's a tendency to preserve whatever is failing, not to go down. If you can stop the gravity fall of senile decay or Alzheimer's, and then you bring it up afterwards, a few months from there, that is already a winner. Because in medical thing, there's no cure for Alzheimer's. They can have a treatment for Alzheimer's. So you have to distinguish. There's a treatment for diseases, but if they treat it for life, that is already incurable. Otherwise, they would have stopped medication. So there are many medical solutions as treatment, but it's an incurable disease as far as most people would concern. So there's hope. There's also that you need to expose her head in sunlight in the morning. You need sometimes to do exercise and bring down the head. With oxygenated blood going to the brain, there's a tendency that the brain system will be energized by oxygenated blood, which will empower the memory. So sometimes you need to lower their head after inhaling deep, exhaling slowly, and hold the breath 5 seconds. Inhale again slowly. Hold 5 seconds. And like that. Do it for 5-10 minutes. That will fill up and saturate the blood with oxygenated prana. The prana or vitality will come in and energize the brain, the blood, and the tissues of the body and the aura. And then after that, you lower a little bit the head beyond the level of the body. So some of the circulation of oxygenated blood and prana will circulate to the brain more than the torsos and so on. So that's one thing that I do to some of them. And they have improved a lot. And there's many techniques that we do, but it depends on the degree of damage already done. So there's hope in terms of heal plan. It's one of those that we heal in the healing plan that we go. There are 57 of them, and one of them is the aging problems like senile decay, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and memory loss. That one is a group together healing. Some of them might have depression, anxiety, or they have second childhood or something. So we covered that as a plan.
Just to follow up to Walter's question, Master Del Pay, do you have any success stories where you actually fully healed 100% Alzheimer's?
We have successful story for a few, not all. You know why? Because when I heal people and I bring the divine light to the person and it doesn't go anymore, the soul wants to withdraw. So they can prolong them medically, but the soul is just waiting for a mistake or a blunder of the medical intervention, and they just go. Or they go to comatose, which is even worse. Or they go to severe memory loss, which is bad because the person is mentally dead and physically alive. It's like it's bad, you know. So, oops.
It's okay, ma.
Okay, okay. So I had successful stories in many places, but the success is not sometimes the cure. I cannot say I will cure Alzheimer's in 2 months and then they are not back to memorizing a book, you know, or they can remember everybody's name. Like even some people are young, they cannot remember everybody's name. But that idea that they will lose more than memory and they go to second childhood and senile decay is worse. So you need to stop that gravity and then pick them up to at least not worse than now. And that we can do very fast, maybe a few weeks. And then from there on, they can revive whatever they can according to spiritual purpose of the soul. There's a soul purpose that makes people sick, not because the person is bad. Sometimes that's a graduation exit. So when I see that, I know the person was gonna go. I would just bless the person and tell the person, the family, that I think it's just a matter of time that the person withdraw if there's no more life support or medical support.
Yes, this topic is very, let's say, challenging because we're using the medical system to try to extend the life, and it is true that sometimes in healings, if people dies, even the more you put light, the more they want to go instead of going back
Yes,
to
yes.
life.
I
I
have.
have experienced
Thank you
that.
for reminding me. Yes, yes, Beatrice. In if you are a very advanced healer, when you prepare the person by cleaning their diseases and aligning them and opening their crown and their hearts, that's the time sometimes the soul wants to withdraw when they're cleanest, and it's a blessing because they are able to exit with dignity. In fact, that's your best gift to somebody who's gonna die, because when they die in a turmoil with anger and fear and toxicity, they go to purgatory world, lower world. Why? The exit will be solar plexus. But when I heal people and they are really prepared after a few weeks of cleaning them and the auras are clean, the crown is open, the hearts are open, their past is cleaner, they have no more grudges and so on, they have forgiven people because we guide them, many of that as an exit policy. I see them really, really, the soul is so happy that, my God, I have to withdraw now that the opportunity has opened up. And so some of patients who are really in the terminal cases do withdraw because that's the right thing for the soul to do, not to preserve life anymore because they have graduated from this physical incarnation, but to exit when they have dignity. When the energy is so clean and robust, that's the time the soul say, I have cleaned myself, I've taken a bath with light, I need to exit so that I don't have to go to purgatory for a long time. Because when the emotional energy is clean, when their mental energy is clean, and their aura is clean, that is the best exit policy for any incarnate. If I had to die, I have to be in that level. And if my parents would die, I would offer them that as my best gift, not to preserve their life. It's
Yes.
a anti medical practices.
It's more like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda in Star Wars. They just align
Yes,
and say,
yes,
I'm ready, right? I know Darren likes that.
Yeah, my
yes.
line is Obi-Wan Kenobi fights Darth Vader in the famous conversation they have. And the key point on this topic
Yeah,
is Obi-Wan says, Darth, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi was with Luke the rest of the movie. He's always there saying, Luke, trust in the Force. I'm here. Everything's okay. Surrender, relax, and let the Force guide you.
Yes, we
yeah.
all want
I
to
agree.
depart with dignity, like them and like Yoda, just letting go. So this is big, and I remember Master Arpe, there's like hidden laws, like the cycles that you also teach. So in my experience healing people, the times that they got more challenging, or even the time that they have departed, like even family members, we're close to their birthday, especially older people. So I know
Yes,
you
yes.
teach
There's
so much about that. Maybe you can share.
I have a workshop called Life After Death and the Inner World, and how to incarnate, when does the soul arrive, what are genetic markers, and so on. And there's a time also to exit, and exit scientifically or systematically according to esoteric science. So there's a time that the most ready people can exit when they're cleanest. As you advance, you have a prerequisite to exit. So some masters or some more advanced beings, they can exit at will at certain time that they want to exit. Not just through diseases, they can die through their sleep, through meditation, or they will pull out the plug whenever they want to. And there's a time that you need to prepare yourself when time comes and do it systematically. There's a meditation that you do and mantras to use to exit. And the best time to exit is before your birthday, or even during birthday or something, because that's a time that the soul has weakest grip over the personality and the physical body. So that's a time that is very easy to snap the plug, and that's also the less resistance to your body to release. So the angel of death would do the easier way to help you when you're time. Not the angel of death, the negative side, the good side, the healing side, which is more colored orange, and they stay on your head and then below your feet. When the person is dying, that when I see that, the person is ready to go. But when they're very toxic, the people who are dying struggles to exit because like the soul is not able to pull the plug because there's so much broken cords that it's like you cannot move the yo-yo when there's no string. Same with there's no unplugging if there's like a lot of disconnection. That's why when people are restored back to better normal, when they're clear, they have an easier way to exit in peace and dignity, and that's the best way to exit really. So we teach people how to prepare people through mantras, through certain exit statements, through certain kind of rituals with oil or with sandalwood or frankincense or many other things that are, or sage sometimes is used, or you can bless ointment made of coconut or something and bless it with certain colors. Or you can put an orange light in the room and just bring more detachment. That's why people use the saffron clothing. Yogis, lamas, they use the ochre because that's a detachment color. So there are many things that I teach in some of these workshops.
Mm. Thank you, Master El This is very good. And we have here Dr. Bruno Chicli and Alaya Chicli. They are from the Chicli Institute and they just moved to Vilcabamba. They are ones that would pull here. And I don't know if you guys will have some like to comment or talk with Master El or have any question for him or introduce yourselves.
Sure.
Nothing special. It's such an interesting system. I don't even know exactly what it covers. We do treat like that. I mean, I work with the physical because I thought it was the most difficult dimension to understand what's happening with all the details of anatomy and microbiology. And I start there, but from when I touch something, I try to deconstruct and understand where the problem come from. If it came from, emotional. Energetic, mental, spiritual, but we mainly look often we find something or in transgenerational in the family lineage, and we repeat, pattern from there. And even the voice that we hear inside of yourself, if you feel you're not good enough or I am not okay, those voices we understand can come directly from an ancestor. It's actually an ancestor talking through you. Like you said, oh, I'm not good, and you realize, oh, your father told you that all your when you grew up, you're not good enough. So then after you hear, you incorporate this voice and you hear, I am not good enough, but it's a voice actually from your parents initially that you incorporated the second time. But sometimes this voice go very, very far in the lineage, very, very far. It can go 14 generation, 10 generation. And so we try to look the very first person who started makes this kind of decision, because at the time in the Middle Age or in the 16th century, it was the best survival decision they made, but it's not appropriate for our time. For example, when you work with Irish people, they suffer so much from famine, and they decided that you work 10 hours a day and you can make two potatoes, and you work 15 hours a day, you make three potatoes. You can never survive. You have to be cheap, you have to be difficult, and it's so painful. Sometimes you have to drink. But those decisions, you can still find them in somebody in the 20th century, getting lots of money, being very cheap, couldn't be happy, have to drink for no reason. Those voices are still inside. So this is one of the cause of the disease. We look for the family lineage, and then we look for past life. Those are very powerful things. And what we have also right now, for example, is also a collective. It's not necessarily a past life, or it is, It's not necessarily a family lineage, but it's a collective decision. Like right now, be afraid of the disease. So you are in the matrix of, in the quantum field, in the surrounding field, people, this collective decision made that you have to clear. That's what I show in the demonstration I made, that there's three neonatal reflex that reoccur, that come back for everybody now, and that I've tested. Three old primitive quote unquote reflex that everybody have now as a survival or something very aggressive that came back. So this is the cause that we look for. And I can see Master Del Pe go the other way, go from the energy body or the spiritual body high manifested into matter. And it's beautiful. It's totally beautiful to do it. It's just the same, the other side of the same coin, basically. But I don't know everything he does, so I don't have. It's such a big field. I mean, there's so many questions. Do you have questions, Aria, about something or comment?
Um, it's interesting because just recently I've been looking at the subtle bodies, and my attention was turned towards the pain that people are suffering in their minds because of this inundation of fear and control. So I could see that it was creating a lot of weight and a gravity. Um, People weren't able to integrate it. And I could feel it go into my emotional body. And then I discovered my etheric body for the first time. And I could see how my etheric body was, oh my gosh, I'm just learning about it and exploring it. But I can see how it interfaces into the physical and into our spiritual bodies. But what I saw, this was the most important thing for me, from the mental body, I could see at the top of my mental body or feel that I had a barrier that disconnected me from the higher realms. And so I could jump over and connect to higher places, but I wasn't flowing to the cosmic realm and bringing the cosmic energy through me, constantly touching into my etheric body and bringing all that energy into my body. So this is kind of like a new exploration for me in the last month or so. That's been, I don't have, just kind of exploring on my own without, you know, any guidance, but I can see it's so important because we've lost that higher stream.
That could be also a collective decision, because when we started in the 16th century, the scientific revolution, we decided to create a wall between what's material and what's spiritual. And so that's a collective decision we took, and we explore only something scientific and material. And we made now more. I mean, if you want a grant for a scientist, you have to have a scientific explanation for, if you want money from a university, you want to make a scientific explanation and explain what you do. And it's only the scientific values, which is very masculine. There's very little feminine energy there. And those are the decisions we make to create a wall between, your mental and your spiritual, because we don't want to know what's on the other side of this mental body, because it's not so scientific, it's not so material. So maybe that is a collective decision. You saw the collective decision
I don't know.
of humanity at some point, saying we want to separate us from spirituality.
Live in this little tiny realm of mind, emotion, and physical.
And that's what the MD are doing. I mean, I was trained as an MD. That's where we live.
Yeah. What do you
Very
have
interesting.
any feelings about that, Master Vilcabamba? About that disconnect?
Yeah. Yeah, Master, they were asking what are your feelings about all the collective, and they were sharing, and how now Alaya has been experiencing the mental bodies and all the bodies, as you were saying, and this war between the spiritual and the mental.
Okay. They're elaborative in their own ways, and thank you for sharing. Whatever happens to you, sickness or wellness or well-being or alignment or enlightenment or misalignment, they all manifests in the auric field, in the physical, etheric, astral, mental, and spiritual auras. That's why I was telling earlier that if you do not know really the origins of disease, whether it's a ancient karma of lineage or ancestral karma, they still manifest in the aura and the chakras. And there are three condensers of light that manifest when a person is sick or have a long life or something. One is seated in the third ventricle of the brain, downloaded through the crown, mental crown, which is the seat of mind of the soul. The soul in the mind anchors there, which is almost the junction of the pituitary and pineal gland. The life condenser genetic code energy is seated close to the sinoatrial node of the physical heart, but controlled by the etheric chakra of the heart. And the one in the tip of the liver is the astral or emotional life condenser. These are the book of life or life chips that condense life, that releases diseases when you need to be sick, or absorbs toxicity when it needs to absorb the karmic account. So this is where I look at sometimes when a person is not being healed, I know that there's something still off or gaps of the healing. And when I look at there, that is the program of the soul to get sick. So not all diseases are negative. Some diseases are instigated by the soul when the karma needs to release, to purge, to clean, to awaken the person. So there are many ways of looking at that. So the aura, whatever you call me, whether it's ancestral karma, which is intergenerational karma, national karma, cultural karma, individual karma, family karma, and the earth karma, we share a lot of those karma because we are part of the greater whole. For example, if you are an Indian in India subcontinent, most typically you have eaten the Indian food and you have been subjected to the dusts and toxicity in India. If you're in Delhi or Mumbai, or if you are in the Himalayas, you're probably subjected to the winter and so on. So a lot of these, something has to do with the macrocosmic influence as well. If you are a fish in a dirty lake, whether the lake is dirty, that will determine your health as a fish. So if you are a very healthy fish, you put them in a dirty river, the fish gets sick also in long term. You can resist for some time. So if you are a healthy person living in a very stressful energy in Washington, D.C. right now, where they have the commotion, or in Wall Street, or in a war-torn country in Lebanon, for example, you can have a strong aura, but still encompassed, enclosed by the war aura or the disease aura tendencies of the place. Like every being of a place has chakras. Like New York has a chakra, United States have a chakra, Ecuador has a chakra. They have, like human being, they have a chakra system. So if that predominantly is like they have very dirty sexual energy and dirty base chakra and dirty navel, most likely you have either arthritis, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, you have gout. Many diseases can manifest in certain areas where the energy of the place is such design. So not only, for example, you can have a lineage of a Chinese but living in Chinatown in America. You might be eating the same Chinese food, but you're subjected to the New York energy, which is different from Beijing or Shanghai, or a Latino that's living in Miami with a lot of booze in the Western Beach and West Palm Beach. You can be subjected to the vices, energy, and entities of addiction, yet you were from Vilcabamba, you see. Or you can be a smoker and a drunkard in Miami, but then you start to live in Vilcabamba, where there's cleaner energy and there's more gentle energy. You also shift because of the macrocosmic influence. Now, it's true that your generational karma and energy has been through your lineage, like ancestral karma, like the Africans are always connecting to their ancestors. The Chinese are filial piety. They want to connect to their old ancestors. Some cultures do not want to connect with their ancestors by choice, like Americans sometimes do not want to spend their Christmas with their father or their grandfather. So these are also repulsion. There's an attraction and repulsion. So if you resist to inherit the karma of the culture because you go against the food, the tendencies, the habits, then you disconnect yourself from the karma of the cultural negative tendencies. But if you want to attract and adopt a new way of living, like say Vilcabamba, Okinawa, Hunza Valley, these are areas that you have longevous, like super centenarians. You can adapt to the food, to the, you change also your energy, even though you are Chinese or American. So we cannot be specific only on the lineage. Of course, you have your genetics from your father. Like for me, I have lost my hair because alopecia through a family is genetics. My father lost his hair early on. So I happen to be born of that genetic. Plus, I worked in Saudi for 10 years with hot temperature. So imagine doing the genetic, and then you have the hot temperature, plus I got so much stress when I was working and in business. So you combine them when I was younger, that's called balding, you know. But then I don't want to anymore grow my hair because they said that I look better without the hair. So that's my decision at the end.
Very
Okay,
good.
anyway, but you have to remember that you did not just come from one family. So it's complicated. For example, in every life, you maybe live around 700 years to 1,000 years before incarnation, between incarnations, approximately. I'm generalizing. And you might have been born 1,000 years ago of an African or an Australian origin or a European. So if you trace your roots, it's very complicated because you've been, okay, they said that you need at least 600 years, 600 lives to be at least more enlightened. So imagine 600 parents and grandparents and grandparents. Now that's complicated to trace. That's why when I heal past lives of people, I do more an aggregate of the points of light in the past than tracing all the genealogy of their diseases and genealogy of their ancestors. It's very complicated because it can be an eons of time of lifespan of the earth that affects you because the earth before was more primitive. It's not a sacred planet until now. So a lot of the darker substance that we inherit as we are born, like Adam and Eve has to be born of a substance. We have to inherit the original sins of the imperfection of the earth. That disease has to come through us for us to live through that energy and dispel it. As we grow, then we ramify the substance to become brighter. And then we turn back to earth, the mind of the earth, the emotions of the substance, the etheric of the substance, and the physical dusts from the physical body. So that is improved, and that's called good karma. When you desecrate your body, your mind, emotions in each incarnation, and you become darker, that is negative karma because you made the substance you borrow from the earth darker. That is to be paid in the next life. So these are all the things that I've been experimenting, and I've been healing people through these principles. And you have to touch the mental body, not the brain. The brain is not the mind. So you have to separate between mental illnesses and emotional illnesses. They are not the same. And that's the blunder again and default of medical science when they said it's a mental illness, even it's an emotional origin. Most peoples today with our lower strata of development are emotional trigger diseases, not mental. We call it mental because that's the term for the DSM-5 book. But most diseases today in normal humanity is emotional diseases. From fear, anger, these are all emotional. Confusion is mental. Skepticism is more mental. I would say doubts is more mental. But when you start to fear, anger, they are all feelings based. And jealousy, envy is more a little bit mental. I would say if you know the person's checklist and you know their intake form will say, okay, I'm very angry, I'm very this and that. You know that their anger is coming from a relationship. These are emotional. The solar plexus gets damaged easily in that, not the ajna, because this is the mental chakras. If you worry a lot, then you are affecting the throat and the solar plexus. But if you are a thinker like Einstein, who are more detached to emotions, they are not affecting the solar when they're worrying. They are affecting the throat, which affects the thyroid and parathyroid and their voice. If you are a thinker and you are an abstract thinker, you are more using the abstract mind, this part, and you're using your solar to be emotional. But if you're Mother Teresa, Oprah Winfrey, all the emotional people, the Piscean design is very much on the heart and solar plexus. That's why one of the top killer diseases today, if not the top, is ischemic heart disease, heart attacks, meaning to say we are graduating from the emotional life because we have overused our emotions. Therefore, the heart chakra is the most taxed because this is the diffuser of energy when there's a lot of taxing situations. It's not the mind. So these are all things that are observed from the 8 types of human designs, from the 4 layers of the aura that you heal, from the life condensers anchored in you, 3 of them, from the karmic conditions you see in the past lives, not just this past. But if people just take care of their past mistakes, that's pretty good. If they just drink clean water, eat good, and exercise, meditate well, that's already pretty good to start. Forget about the past life if people don't even believe in more than one life psychology. But that's the need to reinvent the healthcare because it's a one life psychology base. It has to think that there is more than one life, and there's a future life that we need to take care from today.
Very good. Very inclusive, Master. Thank you. I'm sure that all of us got more ideas, more labels, more frameworks of understanding many things that we, maybe as mystics, as healers, as psychics, we already have been experiencing. But now I know that through the templates that you're giving and many books and trainings you're giving all of us, many other structures that might be very beneficial for our healing practices, whatever they're integral medicine or mystical healing. And I know this convention is going to bring much more light about all these topics. I know we have 8 amazing themes. One of your secrets is longevity. And I know the time is so short, but if there is anything you can say about the contents of this first day that is going to be now on Sunday in Ecuador, is going to be 7 a.m. to noon. So we have 5 hours of intense training panels and themes. Would you mind sharing a little bit of the highlights of this Sunday's program?
Okay, it will be a 5 hours of intense discussion and conscious conversation presented by different panelists, experts, and some of them will be revealing the failure and the success of the healthcare industry, the medical industrial complex, and also we have also these presentation of different modalities from Ayurveda, from Theta healing, from Reiki healing, from many aspects of the different modalities. Plus, we present also the incurable diseases, what causes the incurable diseases, and also the medical side, and then the esoteric side. I'll be talking about the secrets of longevity and well-being, not only experienced in Vilcabamba or Okinawa. I have already sorted out, being a spiritual healer and master, the origins of diseases and the landmarks by which you look at the person and you know if they have a tendency to live longer or not. They're indicators. So I have to present at least 14 indicators in the lecture. And I also give them the 4 laws of karma that will cause longevity or prevent disease, and the 2 laws of dharma or duty in life to amplify your purpose and meaning in your life, so that it's not just a long life, staying in bed or attached to a wheelchair, but it's really a life that is more meaningful, productive, and aligned to a higher purpose. So there are different laws that needs to be included. And I also have the Heal the Past, Transform the Present, and Energize the Future presentation myself. And I discuss many things there, but I think is the energy of the group that will bring another kind of level to anyone who is participating, because it's the group download of a high energy that will come, waiting for the new tools of health that will come by the beings, because it is not me only. There are high beings that are empowering the movement of reinventing healthcare. As I said, I'm not here to fix medicine or the medical industry. I'm here to reveal what is being done right now, even through the wrong expression of vaccines and so on, and also to reinforce the healing industry, healing sciences and modalities to take charge of the next step of humanity to heal every aspect of life, not just the body. But there's a time that you heal the body because the body is sick. It's already organically damaged and you have to fix that, of course. There's the expertise of many people, including people who are body workers and surgeons and so on. So I am not fanatical. So if a person has the broken bones, I have to bring them to the hospital. If a person has heart attack or exploded, I would say, appendix, I will bring them to the hospital immediately. So these are the things that we have to balance back in terms of explaining what is complementary, what is alternative medicine, which is holistic, and which is integrative, and which is the new one. So these are all part of our program. And I'm very glad to have spoken to your group, and hopefully some people will listen to this. And I hope that all of you who are here will open up your minds and your hearts, and also your ability to digest new information that will lift up your consciousness to a high level, that you can see further, broader, and deeper into these eases, whether it's individual or social or global. So I'd like to invite everyone. That's 5 hours, 2 days, January 10 and January 17. And after that, we have 3 sessions of conscious conversation follow through. Because I don't believe in convention abruptly is ended. I always want people to converse with the speakers, converse to themselves, suggest things, and then put a plan afterwards to even digest further all the lessons we have learned together. And together we are stronger and more powerful. And I think all healers should be retrained, should be refit, should be refurbished with the new energy and the new concept of the new healing system. And thank you for giving me a platform to talk. And I hope I have shared enough today that it might instigate some sparks of change or upliftment.
Thank you, Master Del Pe. It's always a pleasure. And I know for all the healers here in Vilcabamba and health practitioners, we are in a community that is looking ways, Master Del Pe, to nurture each other, to support each other, not about competing, but about completing, about really doing the best, because, you know, the time is so short and the changes that come will need the best of us. And so thank you so much also to giving a big venue of complementary and new information about the new age and everything that is coming on towards us. Thank you so much about that. Thank you everyone for participating,
Yeah.
for taking your time today here.
And
And
Beatrice, thank you for leading the group there. And you are a person who can be relied on. And as I said earlier, this refitting of healers, those who are only using 7 chakras, you have to now to refit that there are 13 chakras of the personality, and there are many, many minor and minor, and there's 8 chakras of the soul that needs to be refit in very advanced human beings. So this is one thing that you will be spreading there. And people can always go to my website, masterdelpe.com, and look at a lot of free lectures there. And we have downloadable items like our books. The Higher Science on Longevity is one of my major book in terms of expanding lifespan and extending a life of meaning and so on. So A Higher Science of Longevity is one of my book. If you want about sexual alchemy, how to use it to live longer and how to enjoy your life at the highest level and grow together, we have the Sexual Alchemy and Divine Intimacy, which you can study. You can download that, and you will be surprised how much we know and how much we don't know. So I invite all of you. If you want to study the earth changes and what's happening in the world today, what will happen in 150 years, and the 300 millions of history of extinction, five types of extinction. We can also teach you a lot of that through my book, Aquarian Revolution, or Aquarian Invocation. There are 2 books that specify that. So thank you very much, everyone. And I hope we have contributed to you today.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm
about the
sharing all
Dark
the
Night of the
books.
Soul. Well, I've written 12 books and many books in the pipeline, but I think people who are really more advanced, they might find me amusing. People who are not advanced, they find me weird. People who are only scientific, they feel me nonsense and baloney. So it depends who you're hearing at. So if you're advanced, you will find me a little bit amusing because I will talk something that is not spelled out anywhere else yet.
That's for
So
sure,
anyway,
Master.
thank
You're
you,
unique.
doctors. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
You're
you.
very unique. I
Healers.
have to
Thank
tell
you.
everyone that in my 14 years being your student and your disciple and along your way, I have never been bored. I have always been challenged. I have always been growing and expanding. It has changed my life for so good. I'm so grateful. And you also guide me to be here in Vilcabamba. And I think there's a global mission here in Vilcabamba. And hopefully the next Heal Convention can be here. You have a group of people here to collaborate and serve together, Master Delpe. That's happening too. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the invitation. And thank you, Darren, also. Thank you, everyone. And let's move things. Let's create a new way, not an alternative to medicine, a mainframe that can be used as opportunity to see if the other service of medical is failing, we have to rise. So this is the time. We are the right people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Bruno
Thank
and
you very much.
Alaya. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Annie, Moni, Mindy, and everyone that is also watching this recording. And the group of Italy too. Many blessings to everyone. And don't miss out. I'll send in this recording also the Heal Convention registration form is only $20. Whoever wants to participate, you're going to get the book of the higher science of longevity and also a self-healing meditation for the emotions. So many good gifts of this convention, and please feel free to share it with many people as we can, so we can have a big platform of service together. Thank you, Master Del
Thank
Pe.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Let's see
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye to
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Yeah.
And see you next Fireside Chat. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.